1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 1 through 4. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief.
Good morning, church family. Don't get an opportunity, probably mostly of my choice, to get up here and talk very much. I'm not one of those people that do well talking. But this morning, Ian and I are going to share the service, and I hope it'll be a blessing to you. I'm going to have a short service up front here, and then Ian's going to share with you a little report on his mission trip recently. So we're looking forward to that. I wonder if we could just bow our heads for a moment. Ask prayer. Lord, I've just asked you to be with me today, that it may be your words, and where I falter, Lord, you have grace. And I'm grateful for that, Lord, and believe and look forward to the time when we'll be together, you and I and all of us here. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Jacques Cousteau, famed oceanographer, explorer, and one who was pretty well connected with our Earth, of those who are, made a statement in his memoirs that were actually written obviously before his death, but were published after his death. And he made the statement that this Earth, he felt, had 40 years left of sustainability. 40 years. Now, our generation has inherited this world. And I say our generation or generations, those who are here, perhaps our generations before, our grandparents, they've come and gone, and this world is still here. I believe, and it is the opinion of Jacques Cousteau, that we don't have that much more time. Does anybody know what year he died? He died in 1997. That makes it a little easy to do the math because I have a boy that was born in 1997. So that was 16 years ago. 16 from 40 is 24. According to Jacques Cousteau, we have 24 years. Most of us, or many of us here, will see 24 years if the Lord doesn't come back. Okay? So that's 40 years of breathable air. That's 40 years of water that we can use that's clean. 40 years possibly of normal growing seasons that we can expect. And we see those seasons changing already, the highs and the lows coming. It's so cold a few summers ago that our tomatoes hardly did anything. And these things are happening. Jacques Cousteau knew it, but so did Isaiah. And if you look in Isaiah 51:6, are those up on the... I don't have one down here. Are they up on the screens? On Isaiah 51:6 states this, and I'll go ahead and read it. Lift up your eyes to the heavens and look upon the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment. And they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall be not abolished. So Isaiah knew it. He told us of it. Nowadays we have Jacques Cousteau, or did. He predicted only 40 more years. 24 now. If God doesn't intervene in a different way than he has already, we're going to bring this earth to an early end, which we're seeing already. But there's good news, isn't there? Christ is coming back. We don't have to dwell on this. We prepare for it, yes, but we don't dwell on this because we know that Christ is coming back for us and he is in control. I want to jump back to our text this morning that Becky read. Thank you, Becky. 1 Thessalonians 5, 1 through 4. And here's what it says. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write to you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a what? a thief in the night. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But who will it come as a thief in the night for? And if we look at verse 4, we'll find that out. Verse 4 says, but ye, brethren, believers, this is Paul talking, but ye, brethren, are what? Not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. So these are people that are not that don't know this, are in darkness. They're not watching. They don't have this understanding. So who are watching is the question. Has God ever tried to trick his people or surprise them in his word? He has not. He loves us so much, he takes care of us, and he provides us the information for important events in prophetic or through the prophets in his word. In the first coming of Christ, when he came as a child, did we know about that? We didn't. Personally, we weren't there. But think of the wise men. Who were the wise men? We don't know exactly who they were. They were dignitaries from the east. We know that. But they knew, didn't they? They had studied the scripture. And as far as we know, other than those who circulated around Christ's family, what we have in the Bible is 3 guys who were possibly Hindu, or we don't even know. They weren't Christians as far as we know. But they had the scriptures and they were watching. They were studying. They had the star that leading them, I guess the original GPS, if you want to say, that was leading them to the place. And it encourages me because we see if God can give divine guidance to anyone, if they're searching, then he can certainly be with us as we're diligently searching for him. Hebrews 11:6 tells us that God is a rewarder of them who diligently seek him. We know that time is short. The Magi were watching for Christ's first coming. But what about the second coming? Could it be that the people of God aren't looking for the signs of the times? David Gates, mission pilot and author in Venezuela, gives this illustration. He said, at a very large meeting of church leaders, it was announced that in the next 20 years, the growth of the Adventist population would go to 50 million Adventists. Well, there was rounds of applause. That was great. But when you actually step back and look at it, in that same 20 years, the world will grow to over lost my place here, sorry. In the next 20 years, there would be 50 million Adventists. But in that same period of time, the world will grow by 2 billion people. That's insignificant. 50 million growing another 20 million is insignificant when you're talking about 2 billion people. We're falling behind. It's insignificant. It would be like telling the people, the matron or the maitre d' on the Titanic, when it's actually almost vertical, telling everyone, don't worry, everyone. We have teaspoons. I'm passing them out now. Even though we're taking on thousands of gallons of seawater, you may begin bailing with your teaspoons as soon as you get them, and we'll be fine. It helps us understand that where we're going in this world is down. And we have to understand that the only way out is through Christ and understanding the events that are coming up. Just like those on the Titanic, our world is going away. We've seen it. Isaiah's told us. People of this world have already told us. But what about here in the United States? Are things happening here? Sometimes it's hard to tell because we hear so much about these third world countries and how Christians are being put to death and those sort of things. And we sit here in church. We don't have anyone coming in with M16s and forcing us to the floor. We don't have that. We feel relatively safe here. This must be a good place. Things are happening behind the scene, folks, that we're not realizing, that our media is not bringing to us. And I'll give you an example. In 1971, I don't know how many people were here in 1971? Probably a good amount of us. In 1971, the Federal Reserve Chairman stated that the United States was now bankrupt. Now, what does bankruptcy mean? We have no money or assets, right? If I have $100 and I owe $100, I have what? Nothing. That's bankruptcy. He further went on to say Americans need to tighten their belts and our politicians need to put policies in place that will help us get out of this. 1 year later, in 1972, he came on and did a radio broadcast and made a statement very close to this. It appears that no Americans are willing to tighten their belts and our politicians are unwilling or unable to put into place policies that will help us. And by my calculations, we have 30 years before financial collapse. That was in 1972. And I'll let you do the math on that. Now, predictions by people are not always accurate, but we know that these things are taking place behind the scenes. In fact, just 6 years ago, America owned 2% and owed 98%. That's how bad it got then. I don't have the numbers today. Larry Burkett, Christian economic advisor and author of the book, The Great Coming Economic Earthquake, made this statement. The last thing a government will do when it has no resources left, it will begin, you guessed it, printing money that it needs to pay its bills, which only escalates the process and guarantees collapse. We now know that the U.S. has already started this process just a few years ago. People don't have much time, either financially or of this world. Things are all going to start going down in a hurry. Do we serve a great God, though? Amen. Absolutely. And He's in control here. He allows things to happen. He doesn't make those things happen, and many times they're horrid things that are happening, but He allows them to happen. He's coming back for us, and our time is so short. We need to be so focused, and this has just come to me in the last few weeks here. We need to be so focused on our primary reason we're here on earth. People ask us, why are we here? We should have an answer for them. We're here to spread the gospel. We're here to go home soon. That's why we're here. We need to be willing to go out in faith and tell those who don't know of the wonderful news of salvation. People that we work with, people that we see at the store, people that we're developing relationships with, classmates, whoever it happens to be. When an artist is commissioned to paint or sculpt a likeness of someone, it is because that artist has something special to contribute to that piece of work. I believe God puts people in our paths every day that we have something specific to give to that person in our relationship that can reach them. I truly believe that. The Lord has given each of us that special communication skill for someone or someone's, many other people, that we can reach them to plant the seed. That's what we're doing, aren't we? We're planting the seed. You know, growing up, I had a couple things that used to frighten me, and one of them was that I wasn't saving enough people. I don't know how many of you guys, anybody else ever had that as they grew up? Thank you. There's a hand that I wasn't saving enough people. And it was pretty heavy on me as a teenager, off and on. It kind of went from that to girls and back to that. And it, you know how teenagers are. Their minds go a lot of different places. Things are important, and we get stretched different directions, don't we? And as we go on through life, we go back and forth to these things. The Lord has given us special communications for each. Matthew 24:14 says, "And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached to the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come." Revelation 14:6 says, "And I saw another angel in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people." I knew that verse. I heard it. How in the world am I going to get to every kindred, nation, and tongue? I only speak one language. Understand where I'm going? And the other thing is that the gospel doesn't have to be something terrible or hard. You don't have to go overseas to be a missionary. Am I right?
That's right.
We know that. But sometimes it's hard to think about those things. John 1:12 says, "But as many as received him, to them he gave power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name." So I didn't have to be worried about I wasn't bringing enough people, right? Because how would I do that? Well, I can't on my own. We can't do that alone. The Holy Spirit is actually the one that pulls the heartstrings of people. We plant the seeds. That's what they're asking us. That's what he's asking us to do. You remember Moses? He had that problem, didn't he? He was called. Are we called?
Yes.
You bet. We've been called. Moses was called. And what did he do? He was just like us.
He argued.
He argued. He said, "Hey, that's not my strong point." Right? Maybe he didn't use those words. But he says, "That's not my strong point. I can't do that, God. I can't talk to people. I can't get up in front." None of that stuff. And the Lord had kind of a little a talk with him, didn't he? When you light a bush on fire in the middle of the desert, it gets your attention, and it did his. But even with that, even with God's assurance, I'm guessing most of us hasn't had God's voice assure us of something. I would think that if God's voice assured me of something, I'd be sure. But I don't know that. Abraham still argued. And God said, "Okay, here's your brother. He's good at that. You go with him." And they did it as a group. We can do it as a group. Just share Christ and what he's done for you to people. That's all. I don't care if you know the whole Bible. We need to be studying towards that. But just share Christ and what he's done for him. You know that he's died on the cross to save your sins because we owe our lives because of sin. And Christ paid for it. You may say that I can't go to a foreign land, or I don't even know what a missionary looks like. How can I be a missionary? Just look around you. I think you might find somebody out there who has probably spread the good news from the back of a harvester's truck. I don't know. Maybe they befriended someone at a community garden. There's a lot of people out there working. You don't have to be a great missionary or fly a mission pilot plane to do this. But that's what we're here for, folks. That's the message I have for you this morning. Please, we've got to wake up. Things are coming to a close. We can't just keep acquiring things and moving on in life day to day. I know that I go to work every day and I get lost in that. I have this to do and this to do, and suddenly the day's over. And I got to run home because I got to mow the lawn, or I got to do this and that, and days and weeks and months go by. This world is ending. We're going to wake up one morning and our dollar's worth nothing. Nothing. The paper that it's printed on. That's all. It's a promissory note. We don't know what it's worth. We already know that around the world, the U.S. dollar is being artificially upheld so that proverbially the emperor doesn't know he doesn't have any clothes on, if I may use that. That's what's going on. While we have dollars, while they're worth something, we need to be using those to get this work done. That's where we're at. And to be a missionary. This brings me pretty much to the end of my speech here. I just wanted to bring that to us again. It's been brought to my attention so vividly that I wanted to share it with you this morning, and that's what I've done. I wanted to kind of turn over the rest of the service here to Ian. I've asked him a couple times, how long is this going to take, Ian? He says, I don't know, Dad. I'm not done with it yet. A couple times. So Ian's had the opportunity. We're very grateful to those of you who are able to help out to go overseas to Dominican Republic through the I keep wanting to say ADRA. Maranatha, thank you. Maranatha trips. And I know there are people in this audience who have also done that. So I'm going to turn the rest of the time over to Ian here, and he'll have a report for us. Hope you find that interesting.
Yeah. Earlier in July, I was privileged to have the opportunity to participate on the Ultimate Workout 24, hosted by Maranatha Volunteers International. Ultimate Workout is what Maranatha refers to as a short-term mission trip. This particular one lasted only 10 days, from July 3 through 13. And it was held in the Dominican Republic. This was my first international mission trip experience. My trip to the Dominican Republic left from Kansas City International Airport on July 3rd at 6 a.m., which meant I had to pack the night before, and left home at 3 a.m. I'm not a morning person. I had a 3-hour flight to the Atlanta airport, where I had an hour layover, which was just enough time to run to the other side of the airport and find my flight right before they started boarding. From Atlanta to the Dominican Republic capital of Santo Domingo was another 3 hours, and from there we had a 4-hour bus ride to Barona. So the Dominican Republic takes up about 2/3 of the island of Hispaniola. The other 1/3 of the island is Haiti, which is even poorer than the Dominican side, so I'm told. A large percentage of the people there are Catholic, 90-some%. Maranatha has been active in the country for more than 20 years, making a big difference there. In fact, I know the second ever Ultimate Workout was actually in Dominican Republic somewhere. Not sure where, but it was there in the country, and they've returned there many times. It's kind of one of their favorite stopping places, I guess. What really struck me first wasn't so much the heat and humidity. It's hot and humid here to an extent. But it was actually the poverty. As we were on the bus leaving the capital, we saw these houses built right onto the sides of the hills. I have a picture of them there. And I guess, houses on hills, that's not that strange, especially if you're from California. But these houses were just unpainted blocks. They were just concrete. Or worse yet, some of them were just even like sheet metal stuck together, kind of. And that was kind of painted, I guess, so it didn't rust or something. But it looked poor, and it was unlike anything I'd seen before. And also, everything was really steep. The yard, if they had one, we couldn't really tell. They were kind of ways off. But some of them, you could just tell that it was really steep, and the only way you could get to the house was from the top. So you have to walk down this really steep path to your house, and then in the morning you gotta walk back up the path, and I don't know. I suppose they're in pretty good shape, got good leg muscles or something, I don't know. And there was a lot of people on motorcycles. See the guy there riding his bike down one of the gravel roads. There was lots of people on motorcycles. I didn't find out until like the 4th day, I think. One of my friends I made that's from the Dominican Republic told me that they actually have helmet laws. Kind of told. No way of knowing that. Apparently nobody enforces them. And so I guess their driver test, if they have one, is got to be something about an insanity test or something. Okay, you've got a truck and there's this much room. Do you pass it, or yes or no? If you put no, you get the question wrong. If you put yes, you pass the test and you get your driver's license, I guess. I don't know. These guys were crazy. We actually, our compound in Barona where we were staying, it was actually a school. But right next door was this bakery. So every morning and in the afternoon, we could smell that dough and the fresh bread, and we'd get really hungry, like I am now, really hungry. Sorry, really hungry. skipped part of breakfast. Yeah, that was over in Sabbath school. So I'm gonna go quick, hopefully. So anyways, there's this bakery there, and they're baking all this bread. And in the afternoons, we get back and we have a couple hours of free time. So we're standing up there on the third level, which is an open air kind of. It's covered, but it's open, so you can like look over the side and everything. And so we're looking over into this compound or the bakery next door, and we see these guys, driving around on their motorcycles, whatever. And it's a divided road, and we're like right on the corner of the block. So there'd be somebody coming the opposite direction, and they'd just come across the intersection, come onto oncoming traffic, and then they'd turn into the driveway, the parking lot for the bakery. And it was just normal for them. And the traffic wasn't that bad. It was, fine. And then we saw some really interesting ways of people carrying bread. They'd, load up their arms or something, and then they'd drive home, and so they've got like 3 bags on each arm with 2 loaves of bread each, and they're trying to drive home on their motorcycle like that. Some of the guys were smart. They'd get a buddy to sit on the back of the bike, and he'd carry all the bread, and then all the guy on the front had to do was drive. And one guy actually built like this little trailer thing we saw one day. Somebody in there that actually had a trailer, and it's like, see, that guy planned ahead. And there's really not very many cars, not very many trucks, not very many SUVs, except for on the Capitol we saw, some. But one of the guys was telling me that these people, they just kind of buy it as like an image, or they lease it, but they can't really afford the car for very long. But it's a new car, and they can drive it around or whatever. So yeah, there's just really poor area. So once we got to the compound, we were actually on the second bus of 3 coming from the airport. It was a 4-hour bus ride. We got there at, I think it was 10 o'clock or something like that. It was pretty late. So we unloaded this coach. It was actually air conditioned. That was really nice. And then we went to check in. They took everybody's picture, and they made us these little photo ID things that we were supposed to wear. It said Ultimate Workout 24 on it and everything. And it had everybody's name, which was really handy because you're meeting 300 other people. You're never going to remember all their names. So you can be like, oh, hi, Fred. Nice to meet you. How do you know my name? It's on your name tag. You're wearing it. I always wore mine down low. Nobody ever saw my name tag. Like, I don't know your name. Yes, you do. We met a little bit ago. I remember your name. Remember your name tag. They also assigned everyone to a small group with a team leader. My team leader was from South Dakota, actually. And so we all stayed in the same room. And then our group, we didn't have to eat together or be at worships together, though we kind of hung out and stuff. So we would sit together at worships sometimes. Some of us would. But after the evening worship, they'd have like a reflection time. And so we could, we'd all sit around and, so what do you guys see today? Oh, I saw this, and this was really cool. And, well, I was wondering about this. And so, we'd kind of chat and everything. It was, get to know the guys. You see the tents here? This is the room I was in, actually. So the group I was in, I think there was 10 or 12 guys. And then there was 2 other groups in this room also that were as big or bigger than our group. So there was basically, and I think this was the first day, there was more people that came later. So this room is maybe as wide as our church, and maybe from the baptistry to the first or second pew. And we have guys sleeping from both sides of the walls. So, the length of a sleeping bag from both sides. So you've got this little bit of room down the middle. But then people had to go sleep there too. So there's no room to walk. Most of what we're doing on this job site is construction. Or on the mission trip, there's a lot of guys doing construction. So we're all wearing these big construction boots that are all muddy and everything. And there's no room to walk. So a lot of people got stepped on. I'm sure I didn't get stepped on. I brought my own little tent. Can keep all my stuff in there. So anyways, it was kind of nice just hanging out with other people. There were actually a bunch of different activities going on. around Barona, which is where we were based. And so I got some videos that our media team put together that'll kind of give you some more details about what some of the different groups were, because I don't have very good pictures of, like, there was a home makeover group, and I don't have anything from that, but they've got their own little video. So they'll explain it, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about more details about what happened to me and that interesting stuff. So just a minute. Let's start with the presentation. Oh, I will need to plug up sound.
We're one of the visitation crews, and our job is to go and visit the people in the community. And it's more of a like encouraging type thing to go and ask the people how they're doing and how their day is going, and
That was just what he said backwards. Okay, hang on. Okay, can you see that? Oops. Okay. Actually, I have no clue. Can't see it. Okay. Usually, I like having a separate display. There we go. Okay, this is it.
We're one of the visitation crews, and our job is to go and visit the people in the community. And it's more of a like encouraging type thing to go and ask the people how they're doing and how their day is going, and we give them a book, and then we talk to them a little bit about the book, and we'll sing a song. And we just try to encourage the people a little bit, tell them a little bit about God, and just
out, all the kids just came and swarmed us and just grabbed our hands and made us feel welcome.
I was gonna put them in the slideshow, but that was
I think it's been really special meeting all the children and seeing how friendly and sweet and amazing they are.
Oh, hang on. Okay. Now we'll get it. Okay, sorry. Start it over. The next one will be better.
We're one of the visitation crews, and our job is to go and visit the people in the community. And it's more of a like encouraging type thing to go and ask the people how they're doing and how their day is going, and we give them a book, and then we talk to them a little bit about the book, and we'll sing a song. And we just try to encourage the people a little bit, tell them a little bit about God, and just try to brighten up their day.
It was just amazing because we just stepped out of the bus, and right as we stepped out, all the kids just came and swarmed us and just grabbed our hands and made us feel welcome. I think it's been really special meeting all the children and seeing how friendly and sweet and amazing they are.
Sometimes it's chaotic because we've got a lot of kids. First day we had like 400 kids come. It was kind of crazy. So I feel it's important for the kids to experience. People coming from outside, I guess it's a little out of the usual, and I think it's very much a blessing for them, for us to come and help them. It gets them very excited.
I like playing with the kids. I don't do that normally. I want to do that, and I like it.
They learn cool stories about the Bible.
12 years ago, Maranatha volunteers came to Barahona, Dominican Republic to build the Barahona Adventist Primary School. Since then, they've grown from 50 to 275 students, and now they are so crowded that they've divided each classroom into two.
La escuela está bien, aunque con muchas pequeñas dificultades, ya que las aulas la hemos dividido porque hay muchos niños y no hay aula suficiente.
They want to keep accepting students, but they have as many as 25 children in each side of the classroom. Everyone here is so excited about the new classrooms that Ultimate Workout volunteers are building.
Con eso es una bendición. Con eso nosotros esperamos más y más alumnos. Claro que sí. Es una bendición para nosotros, porque los papás, muchos que están desde hace mucho con nosotros, están esperando eso. ¿Y por qué no se habla más? Porque ellos lo están mirando ahora. Ellos están alegres de verlo a ustedes aquí.
Ultimate Workout volunteers are building 4 big new classrooms for the Barahona school.
Probably crying out to God for this building because their school is overcrowded, I heard, and they really would need like an extra few classrooms or a few other school buildings that they could be able to have more space and actually make their school a little bit more representative to the communities.
Many of the volunteers are doing construction for the first time. Maranatha staff and volunteers make sure they learn safety and professional technique.
Yeah, because I thought it was gonna be like really easy, you know, you just like slab on the mud, but it was kind of like falling over and everything, and I guess there's a little bit of technique even to just putting mud on like concrete, so yeah, I'm glad for the practice.
Today or not yet? Practice one, and then we took it off. Oh. And now he's putting the line up so we can actually start working.
Okay.
I'm the newbie, can't you tell?
Sometimes you worry about them a little bit, but it's kind of cool to know that you've done it before and you're not the new one this time. So.
It's hard. I miss painting.
It's more fun than I thought it would be. I kind of came out here, I was like, it's going to be hot, I'm going to have to lift stuff, it's not going to be fun, but it was
Believe it or not, construction can be lots of fun, and more importantly, we're doing something big here.
We want to build the people here, not only participants, but also the people who live here. Maybe they'll see us and they'll be like, they look like they're having a great time, and they're building a building and wonder what's going on. What? They're doing this for free? What? They paid to come do this? I don't understand this.
Thanks, Ultimate Workout, you're doing a great job.
Originally, that's what I was signed up to do. I was signed up to work on that school, and on Friday, we spent the morning listening to various heads of tell us the do's and don'ts of life in the compound, life in the Dominican Republic, various things like that. The afternoon was spent in job site orientation. I went on the bus to that site under the direction of Shane Anderson to learn how to lay block, which eventually I did. We didn't really get a whole lot done. There was at least 2 new people for every 1 person who knew what they were doing. So there was a lot of blocks that were laid that came back up and then were laid again and again and again. And then eventually he said, all right, we've kind of got the basics down now. Let's clean up the job site. We're going to go back, get ready for Sabbath. So the next day was Sabbath, obviously. We got to go into the community to different churches, and we got to go to a church in Fidelidad. There was, I think, 6 churches or something that we could choose to go to, and then they had buses going to each one. So at the church I went to, all the Ultimate Workout participants, they had us all go up front, and there was a guy playing guitar, and we all did special music for him. One of the kids from the trip was preaching, and then there was a girl there that was being the translator. There was some kids that did the children's story, and then at the end they called us all up front, and we did some special music stuff again for them. However, the afternoon was a little bit more eventful. We went to a beach. This was not your, soft sandy beach with nice smooth waves. This was a rocky beach with rocks and more rocks, and then some coral, which is sharp and hard, and then some more rocks in case there wasn't enough to begin with. And the water seemed to kind of reflect this rocky theme. It was this isn't the kind of wave you just, I'm just going to let the waves splash on my feet. This is, like crashing waves, and you're kind of like, okay, I'm not going to go out too far. Though there were some people. So anyways, we were like, it's water, it's ocean, let's go swimming. So we go wading in. And so I ended up coming back out after a few minutes because I was standing in water that was about chest deep, and there's this big rock there. I think, hey, I'm going to climb up on this big rock. So I climb up on this big rock, and I'm standing there, and there's a wave coming, saying, okay, I got to brace myself for this wave because it's going to hit me and it's going to knock me off this rock, or I'm going to fall down or something unless I brace myself. And so I braced for it, and it hit me, and I fell down anyways. And so the wave hits me, and it knocks me down, and I bend down, and I put out my right hand, and I go down on my right knee, and I stand up, and I look down at my knee, and I've cut it on this rock. And I look down at my hand, and I have 5 sea urchin spines sticking out of it. 2 of which I was able to pull out because they were sticking out a little bit. But 3 of them were in there pretty good. And so I stand up, and I got to get my balance, so I take a step back with my left foot, and I stepped on another sea urchin. 9 or 11 spines in the left foot. So I was kind of done swimming. And then I had a friend that was there, and same thing happened to her. She got a bunch of sea urchin spines in her foot, and so together we kind of hobbled out, and so that there was this tree there. There was sort of some shade under the tree, so we got our towels, and we're sitting under the tree, and her dad was actually our team leader, which is how I'd met her. And then so he comes over, and he's checking on me because I'm in his group, and he's checking on her because he's her daughter. And so he's like, so what happened to you guys? And we're like, well, we stepped on sea urchins. So we're kind of done swimming, and it hurts to walk. Not that it didn't hurt to walk anyways, because it's rocks, but anyways, yeah. I only took 3 pairs of shoes. I took flip-flops, boots, and dress shoes. I didn't take, Keens or something. I should have. Anyways, next time, if I have room in my bag. Yeah, I'm sitting there, and then gradually we're kind of watching, and there's these other people, and they're still swimming. They're fortunate. They didn't step on something yet. But and they keep going further and further and further out. And we're like, well, where are these people going? And some of them had bodyboards, and they kind of knew what they were doing. They were like, okay, we're going to go out, we're going to catch waves, and they're going to ride back. And they did that. They were having fun, and they were okay. But there was other people that were swimming, and I don't know why you'd want to swim way out there, and you're like so far from shore. But anyways, they get way out there, and we can barely see them. And the leaders are like, wait, those people they're out too far. We got to call them back in. So they're yelling, and of course these people can't hear. So eventually they're like, okay, this is getting out of hand. We need to have everybody come in. So the people that are all close by, they come in. And so now they're all standing on shore, and they tell us, okay, go find your group leaders. So everybody's milling around on the beach. Well, I'm not milling around. I'm sitting in the same place. I said, Dave, I am right here. I will be right here. You don't have to worry. I'm not moving anywhere. And he says, okay. So then the group starts coming around and everything. And so they're taking care of all that. And the medical people are starting to check. It turns out there's 21 people that ended up stepping on sea urchins, which isn't too bad given the fact that we had like 300 some people. But, still, 21 people's a lot. And they kind of hurt at first. And your foot swells up and you can't walk or anything. So then we're watching now these people, and they're way out there, and now they can't get back. Now they've swam out there, and they've gone through all these waves, and now they're tired. And now they're like, you want me to turn around and come back? No, I can't. I'm not going to make it. So out come the boats, as you can see there. Two of the people that ended up getting picked up by boats, one of them was the cook. Glad we got her back. And the other one was the head guy for the whole trip planner person. And so apparently he's like, okay, these people are out there too far. I got to swim in and tell them to come back. And he's been doing this for a long time, I guess. And, he can swim fine or whatever, but apparently a wave broke on him or something, and he, took on seawater, and he touched bottom up, he says, and he gets down there, and it's dark, and he doesn't know which way's up, and he just says, God, point me in the right direction, and something lifts him up, and he breaks the surface, and he hears this voice crying for help. He's not sure if it's his or somebody else's. But a boat comes along and, helps him out of the water, and he's about to go back, and he's like, no, wait. There's somebody else out here. They wait. They hear it again. They hear this voice crying for help. And so they go out a little further, and there's even more people out there. So, but by this time, they'd figured out that getting in your groups is not an effective way to find out if everybody's there or not, because not everybody had come. Some people had stayed at camp, but we didn't know who those people were, except for their names were not on the bus list. So everybody had to go back to the buses. So I limped my way up there, got on the bus, wait a few minutes for everybody to get on, and they call roll and everything, and we find out that we've got everybody. So everybody's there. Everybody's accounted for. So we end up going back to camp. So that afternoon, the adventure continued. The medical team set up this little triage area in the cafeteria, moved some chairs around and tables and stuff. And so the 21 of us, or I don't know if there was actually 21 there at the time, but a bunch of us that had sea urchin spines were all sitting around, and we're all comparing foot stories because most people had stepped on them. So we're like, well, how many do you have in your foot? Well, I've got more than you do. I don't know, kids with ailments. So then they came along and they checked each one of us, and they prioritized us based on how bad it was or something. And there were some people that their foot was really swelling, and they were seen first. And then the people that are like, well, you've got a lot in your foot, but you're okay. You can wait. So I was ranked moderate, whatever that means. So I went over and sat at a table, waited for a while, and then they come over and so while I'm waiting there, this guy comes up and he says, I'm going to take care of your knee. I said, don't worry about it. I've got my own first aid kit. He's like, no, I'll take care of it. So he goes over and gets some rubbing alcohol, and he puts that on it. That stings. Neosporin does not sting. And then he puts some triple antibiotic ointment on there, and then he tapes it all up. And then one of the doctors comes over and he's like, all right, we're ready to see. Oh, wait, what's wrong with your knee? And he's like, well, it got cut. And it's okay. He just fixed it up. He's like, no, I want to take a look at it. So he peels it back. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Then he tapes it back over. Like, thank you. Okay. And then so I walk over to the ultrasound guy, and he does whatever, looks at my foot or whatever with the ultrasound, looking for foreign objects, he says. And I don't know what he was looking for, because there's sea urchin spines in my feet. I know that. But anyway, so he says, nope, we're not going to pull anything out of your foot. You'll be fine in a while. They'll kind of work themselves out eventually, like splinters. I said, okay, whatever. So, and then they said, okay, you're free to go. But instead of leaving, I hung around and made a general nuisance of myself, and told stories and entertaining the people. So this incident shifted my whole week. First, on Sunday, there was 10 of us that were told that you can't go to your job site. So instead of going back to the school, I went with the medical team up to this little school somewhere up in the hills. They loaded up everything in this truck because the buses can't get there. So they put us all in this truck, and they put all the medical supplies in this truck, and then they drive us up there, and then we unload everything. And we're all kind of sitting around wondering, okay, why are we here loading and unloading supplies if we're not fit to go to a work site and do work for... Anyway, that never made any sense to us, why we're working if we're not fit to work. But anyway, so I was there helping the medical team. We set up their stuff for them. They got there a little bit later. We went around. I met all the doctors and everything. And then at the end of the day, one of the doctors says, hey, we'd like for you to join the medical team. And I said, okay, sounds like fun. So for the following 2 days, I got to go to an air-conditioned clinic. It was really nice. I'm so glad I joined medical team. In fact, almost every day we were inside somewhere. It was really nice. So Monday I was with the dental team. That was one of the dental people on the other slide. And then Tuesday I got to shadow one of my friends, Dustin Toffner. He's actually the one you see in the picture there with the hat. I'm the one in red in the back looking nerdy or something. He's actually an Army doctor, ER doctor. He told us a lot. And his wife's also very nice. They brought me back food from local places. They went out somewhere and they're like, we're going to go get pizza, but we can't take you with us. And don't tell me you're going to go get pizza. You're just making me feel bad. And then they come back and they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, you know what? We should have brought you back some. But then the next day they brought me back like some stuffed calzone thing with like cheese in it and stuff. And it was really good, actually. And it was really nice. I told them, if you keep bringing me food, I'm going to get fat and then I can't help you guys anymore. So, you guys got to stop bringing me so much food. I ate like a 1.5 pound cake or something. I don't know. It was like a pound cake and then I had a half of one or something. I don't know how that works. Anyways, so Wednesday, we all got the day off. We went to this nice scenic beach, white sandy beaches. This one was nice. It didn't have sea urchins on it. And instead of like dropping off really steep, it kind of like was really shallow for a long time. So you could walk way out there. And so we're walking around and we're having like chicken fights and volleyball and all kinds of stuff. We had a lot of fun. But unfortunately, there was like this really long bus ride to get there, and we had to leave really early in the morning. And then we're outside all day. But there was this nice boat ride to get to the beach and everything. It was really fun. A lot of the kids were taking pictures on their phones and their waterproof cameras, and they looked like stuff straight out of National Geographic or some travel magazine. It was a really beautiful beach. But a lot of people got sunburned pretty bad. I didn't get sunburned so much. I did actually use sunscreen. But one kid got sunburned like really bad, and he had these big blisters and everything, and it was just bad. And so there was a lot of people that didn't go to work the next day because they were sunburned really bad. One kid looked like a lobster, like literally. He was really red. It was weird. And so we were handing out, those of us that stepped on sea urchin spines, we were given antibiotics to take after breakfast and supper each day. And so then everybody so there was downstairs where we ate, and then you go up the stairs, and then there's like medical, and then you go up the stairs again to get to upstairs, the worship area where we had worship. So they'd finish supper, and then like everybody would come through Grand Central Station, and we're trying to see patients and everything in that area, and there's, it was always really crowded and noisy, and we were always kicking people out, and like, okay, if you're not doing something, leave. So then we're also handing out aloe vera now, and somebody's like, I got really bad sunburns. Well, here, take some of this. But Sabbath was a special blessing. We were able to go worship at the churches that our teams had built, and it was really cool because these videos that I played for you, and I have more of them. To you guys, it's oh, that's neat that they did that. But to me, it's like, hey, I know that kid. That's my friend. I met him. I sat by him on the bus. Or oh, I know her. We did this, or what, So it was really cool to get to see this. And then they're playing these for us every night. They as they make the videos, they would play them for us. And so be like, oh, cool, yeah, we know that person. And so it was really cool to get to go to these churches that even though I wasn't able to be an active part of building these or the school like I planned originally, I still had a good time, got to know some great people. I became good friends with the people that I did work with. But Sabbath, we got to go to a church that our friends had built. And I got to listen to one of my friends that I met from the sea urchin incident when we were all sitting around talking. He asked to be able to preach, and so he got to get up front and he preached that Sabbath. It was a really good sermon. And looking back, I realized that if I hadn't stepped on those sea urchins, I would have spent the week at Barona School, lifting blocks, laying mud and stuff. Probably wouldn't have met the same people, and I wouldn't be telling you this story. I was blessed to be able to serve these people as we gave medical assistance to the people in the local communities. And given the opportunity to go back in that ocean on that first Sabbath and the choice to climb up on that big rock again, knowing what I know now, would I do anything different? Probably not. And I still have sea urchin spines on my feet. So, anyways, that's what happened. And then Sunday, we came back, got back not terribly late, spent one night in bed, and then went to summer camp. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, highly recommend it. Maranatha does not just the ultimate workout for high schoolers, but, and you're eligible your senior summer also. So, but they also do ones, they have a Christmas one, I think they do, and then they've got a bunch of family ones. They do some ones, I think, in the States also, and they've got a magazine or something. And they do the Maranatha Mission Stories thing on 3ABN on, I don't know, my parents like to watch it Sabbath afternoons. I don't know what other time it's on. You can probably find it online. You can find everything online. I got most of these pictures online, or the little flash drive they gave us. Oh, actually, sorry, I missed something. The picture you see of all these people, well, not the big one with all the people with the church, but, well, this one here. These people, not the guy on the end, he was actually one of the chaplains. Plays guitar. We had a lot of fun singing. And then this guy here, he was the chaplain for the whole time. But these kids you see here, they were all baptisms. That Sabbath afternoon, we went down to the pool. We actually had a pool, and they alternated days between swimming. Nobody swam in the pool. It was really disgusting. But these guys went in there, and they all asked to be baptized Sabbath afternoon. So it was really cool to see that, and there was like everybody hanging off the walls and everything, all crowding around trying to see this. But and they got some pictures and stuff. In fact, one of those guys was actually in our group too. So we got to know him pretty well. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and I'd probably like to do it again. Oh. All right, let's have closing prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today. We ask that you please be with us. Help us to see the mission field that you put in each of our lives. Help us to witness to those that you put in our path. Be with those of us throughout the week. Just give us the guidance and the wisdom to make the right choices. In your name, amen.